What do you associate with the spring season? Is it the blossoming of flowers, the thawing of snow, the days getting longer, or maybe a holiday like Passover, Easter, or St. Patrick's Day? No matter what, I am sure that you associate many things with this great season. That's why, for the third season in a row, I called upon my Discord community to come up with a Fakemon that they thought best represented the spring season as a whole. Just like I did back in autumn and winter, it's now my task to redesign some of these wonderful submissions in my own style, creating a cohesive collection of spring-themed Fakemon. Just like winter, as this community's event's popularity has only increased, and we got such a high volume of submissions, I had to limit what I would be redesigning, focusing only on Fakemon that had incredible concepts that I believe would work realistically in the Pokémon franchise, but perhaps weren't visually conveyed in the typical art style that we know as Pokémon. Alongside the visuals, I also wanted to iterate on the concepts through elaborate Pokédex entries and more information about the Pokémon, which in most cases is a hybrid of the flavor text that you guys provided alongside your submissions and my own ideas, where I sought to honor and expand upon your amazing ideas about how these Fakemon would fit into the world. That's not to say that my redesigns are perfect, however. These are just a few new interpretations of some really awesome designs. As always, I wanted to let you know that if your submission was not redesigned, it's still going to be featured in this video towards the end, so stay tuned for that. And for those who didn't submit, go ahead and join the Tam Valley Discord with the link below so you don't miss out when we likely continue this ongoing series in the summer, perhaps with a twist. Without further ado, let's get into it. Let's kick off this season with a very traditional spring design from Sinnoh, who brings us Flunny. This adorable Pokemon seems to be hitting many aesthetics from the season, including Easter bunnies, painted pastel eggs, and even blossoming flowers. I love the mix of inspirations here to create a Pokemon that is very recognizably spring in many ways, and a very faithful rabbit while also being original and feeling like a Pokemon. In my version, I was just a bit more deliberate with the shapes and the patterning, to make this Pokemon round all over like an Easter egg, a cohesive mix of circular and rounded edges. I wanted to make this Pokemon a bit more fantastical as well, adding a green coloration to do that, while also hinting at its grass typing a bit more clearly. This pastel shade of green not only looks like a freshly trimmed lawn, but is also meant to look like the coloration of a decorated Easter egg, along with the complementary colors that run along the body. Lastly, rather than have this Pokemon be super expressive, I gave it a more reserved looking face, perhaps like a shy baby Pokemon that prefers to hide in its literal shell, rather than be as jovial as its colors would suggest. Flunny are commonly seen as the embodiment of springtime. These Pokemon only hatch during the early spring, almost marking the changing of the season when they are born. By early summer, they sport incredible petals around their faces, each one a unique color. These petals act as whiskers, letting the Pokemon sense danger and burrow from dangerous predators. Naturally, they are very reserved Pokemon, but they will warm up with the friendship of a kind trainer. These colorful Pokemon often burrow holes in gardens in great numbers, leaving only the tops of their colorful heads visible. As such, it's a common springtime tradition to host Flunny scavenger hunts that young children adore, even painting toy eggs that resemble the colorful fur patterning of these beloved Pokemon. This next submission comes to us from Krebs, who created this cute little regional variant of Drifloon, done in a very nostalgic pixel art style. Now, this Pokemon is meant to allude to Chinese New Year paper lanterns, a winter holiday, technically, but it is a holiday that rings in the spring, and is meant to symbolize renewal, life, and energy as a whole, so I think that works incredibly well for our collection here. Krebs did most of the heavy lifting for us, even adding this cool face pattern to replace regular Drifloon's bandage patterns. Instead, this gold trim is meant to reference the kanji symbol for fire, so I just made that a bit more clear in my design, adding a bit more depth to suggest that this might be a metal ornament or charm attached to the front of the balloon, alongside making the kanji a bit more recognizable. It even adds nice angry eyebrows to my version, which another Discord member, Martin Rozalski, was quick to meme when I showed off a preview. I also made sure to make it clear where the flames that power the lantern's flight come from, adding nice gold rings or vents on both the top and the bottom of the body, in the same way that these lanterns have openings in real life. I must say, as far as pixel art goes, this design was truly excellent, and a unique submission to boot. This alternate form of Drifloon is native to regions yet unexplored in the Pokemon series. Its body is comparable to thin paper. It's filled with bright, warm air, allowing it to hover into the sky. As hordes of this Pokemon drift through the evening wind, they illuminate the sky in a beautiful display of light and color. Its arrival marks the beginning of the spring season, and is thus celebrated in a massive festival. When it evolves, its body elongates into the form of a serpentine dragon, where they then lead the festivals that ring in the new season. Alright, let's go 3 for 3 with holidays here, and turn to yet another early spring holiday, St. Patrick's Day. From Bloody359 we get Caliclove, a very festively Irish calico cat, who sports this mischievous expression and seems to be flush with cash, or rather, a pot of gold. I love this Pokemon's concept quite a bit, and it being a cat is a fantastic choice, as it's a nice western parallel to the Maneki Neko concept in Japan, which we already have in Pokemon with the coin-loving Meowth. To that end, I like that it subverts expectations of this holiday by not being a leprechaun. For my version, I really wanted to play up the animalistic qualities to celebrate the calico inspiration, incorporating bright shades of gold to pair with that green, and look like the colors of Ireland, without being too on the nose with orange. I also redid the expressions to be a bit cuter and more akin to the Pokemon art style. At least, I hope. At the end of the day, it's still just my own style and my own interpretation, but I always try to draw upon the design philosophies of Pokemon. With Pokemon, you really want to exaggerate and make clear each design element that you use, rather than having them be subtle. So we went all out here. Calico patterns? Check. Clover-shaped tail? Check. Conversely, you need to know when to be restrained with Pokemon designs. So the hat from the original art is now just a detailed tuft of fur on the head, to be a bit more naturalistic and integrated with the body. And to further avoid man-made objects or iconography, we got rid of the entire pot of gold, and only left a small stack of coins, still denoting this Pokemon's penchant for wealth, without having each member of the species having to lug around their own massive pot at the end of the rainbow. Very mischievous and deceptive, Caliclove love playing tricks on humans and Pokemon. They seek out others to carry out their hijinks, and mess with people and Pokemon. Usually, it will knock over nearby items, steal belongings, or curse those around it with seriously bad luck. In truth, they are very distant and closed off, always keeping their guard up around others, and never letting others get close to its pot of lucky gold coins. Should someone put the love and care into it, despite all it puts others through with its mischievousness, it will open up its... Come on. Come on, really? Perfect timing, dude. Okay, get out of here. It will open up its heart and bestow good fortune. Caliclove usually are most active during early spring, when growth of clovers is at its earliest, and when it rains the most in their home region, and thus the rainbows are most likely to be seen. Telltales once said a rainbow leading to a Caliclove's pot of gold is a sign of endless good luck. Now this next design comes to us from Ninja Bic, who gives us the adorable Faunasaur. This is a perfect mix between a baby Apatosaurus and a woolly mammoth, covered in fresh spring moss. A very cute design that captures what's special about Pokemon. They can be realistic creatures while not following the logic of our world, instead giving us seamless blends between very different animals. I'm pretty sure Ninja Bic decided that this should be a starter Pokemon too, so let's honor that in our redesign. I wanted to capture that hybrid element in my version, so I chose to make a smooth body like a reptile with a much fluffier top coat of moss like a woolly mammoth. This also gives the body a nice segmentation, which even in the simplest of Pokemon designs I think is always necessary just for some visual complexity. You never want the body to be just one whole color or one whole material. There needs to be some kind of transformation in there. And rather than add a tail, which I think could come later in the evolution line, I gave this Pokemon seed-like buds on its back, giving some dimension to the moss and showcasing how it has a lot of room to grow. Faunasaur have a shy, cautious personality, tending to stick close with their mothers in the wild. Their green color comes from a symbiotic relationship with a special moss that grows on their fur. This moss is said to have healing characteristics. The lusher green this moss is, the healthier this Pokemon is. Thus, they spend much of their youth soaking in mineral-rich ponds. The petals from the flowers on their backs have also been used to make medicinal tea, which has remarkable health benefits. When stressed, these flowers can also emit harsh light or scent, but Faunasaur are incredibly docile before they evolve, so this rarely happens. Finally, why don't we end today's video with a design that is certainly out there, the sea slug Bladskoap from Auk. This design is inspired by the nautical leaf sheep, a species of sea slug that actually photosynthesizes algae, one of the few animals to do so in some fashion. It's practically begging to be redesigned into a Pokemon. So props to Auk for having great taste and putting in the work. My design is not all that complicated, really just refining the leaves and the face to make it more distinct as a Pokemon rather than a cartoon of the admittedly very Pokemon-like animal. My design, I hope, fits right in with the likes of Gumi or Shellos, all as water-based gastropods. I made the leaves on the back literal leaves, while also being a bit thicker so they look like algae or maybe succulent leaves. One of the biggest challenges was incorporating the face of a sheep or a cow, as Auk suggested to me, which would have been cool. I tried, I swear, but I had to settle for a more anthropomorphic face and those big ears that kinda make it look like a candy bunny, fitting for spring. It also reminds me of a peep marshmallow, which I guess is good for this video's theme, and to make Bladskoap as squishy as it can be. Bladskoap live in the shallows of beaches all along the coast. They form colonies in mass quantities, and from a distance can be easily mistaken for bushes or kelp. They sport leaves all along their backs, which are incredibly efficient at photosynthesizing. They produce oxygen in such great amounts that the air quality of the beaches where they live is noticeably fresher and healthier. Their leaf tendrils are also squishy to the touch and incredibly fragile. They are commonly preyed upon by several species of large fish Pokemon, and these tendrils that fall off in combat or by natural means are collected, fried, and sold as a local delicacy in certain regions. With that, we have officially reached the end of the redesigns. Translating these 5 Pokemon, all based on various aspects of spring, from holidays to nature itself, was tons of fun. However, we received once again a massive volume, over 20 designs, and I wish I could have gotten to all of them, truly. We've got a varied mix from these TamFam submissions, ranging from Escondida 17's Neroyal, a mix of very believable Daffodil Kings, to the mythical Pokemon Robian from the Potato, even an ASCII-based submission from Dayton, an incredibly unique concept that was really fun to interpret and imagine. We have gotten submissions from various aspects of the season, ranging from an imagined 4th starter of the Birds of Kanto, Flora Quattro, to people's personal recollections of what spring means to them, like Boreal Mind's associations of mosquitoes in Central Europe, to a pair of beautiful horned cougar Pokemon simply because cougars might feel like a springtime animal to some people. We even got designs that take advantage of Pokemon's pre-existing design tropes, like a regional version of Cacturn, based off of watering plants and cowboys. Plus, it's another great pixel art based submission to this convergent evolution of Garchomp, based on the very beautiful dragon fruit plant. All in all, an incredible mix of submissions that once again truly floored me. We're all growing as artists together, and it's becoming a seasonal tradition at this point to revel in this with all of you, so thanks for participating once again. With that, this new season has officially sprung, so let's take a moment to stop and smell the flowers. Happy springtime, everyone, and I will see you next time for more content.